Greetings everyone, Napoleon Complex here, and welcome back to the campaign. So, I am going to... Well, I've already invaded Egypt, and I don't think I'm ready to push on just yet. Let's check, see if there's anything that can be done. So, this army probably can win this battle, but no dice, not even close. So we'll keep Egypt under taxation for now, because it is critical to our economy. I am still wary of the Italians invading our coast, so we can't make too many rash moves. I may be able to do something. So I think I can send this unit actually, because we'll get another unit this turn, and if I have to occupy the castle, I have to occupy the castle. We are trying to get a move on here. Make sure that loyalty is good enough. And it does have to be good enough because the game exaggerates the loyalty situation when you've just reloaded, which I've done. We are invading Toulouse this turn as our part of the start of our campaign against the French. On the very, very long road to finally confronting the Italians. Now I've got a unit here, I will move them up. I also have some units here, which I will move up. I think I can do without the presence of quite so many troops here, and we will need the reinforcements moving through Europe. And I believe I should already have done my building this turn, which means everything is ready to go. So on we go. We've been invaded by the Italians. Okay, let's go. This should at least be a cakewalk. Because the French army, for some reason, is very, very poor normally in medieval Total War. And they tend to recruit a lot of peasants early on, and that means that their early armies are very, very poor quality, and they generally run away quite easily. They do, however, have some good commanders, and they do tend to have quite a few generals' bodyguards as well, and that can make them a little bit more challenging. Okay. Now they are going to be going for that hill. Well, I have no problems with that. That allows me to draw up in reasonably good order, and my archers should be more than enough to pull them off the hill. So we will draw up along this series of hills. I'm going to send my Saharan cavalry to go and capture that ballista. I need to take reasonably good care of my princes here, as I've got 3 of them in the battle. Though I think one of them is kind of garbage. Oh, and the linchpin of my line, the infantry. I should probably start moving those. Let's hurry this up, so that we can get to all the lovely killing and medieval brutality. Speaking of medieval brutality, here we go. Okay. I have to respect the one artillery person who managed to bring down a cavalryman while running away. That's quite a feat. Come on, move up, you slobs. Alright. Right, going to nip this one in the bud. Let's get into loose formation. and start to push up the hill. Looking at this, we should probably have these guys in the other flank because we're quite well represented in cavalry over here already. Sorry, I've been busy with other things, and it has been a little while since I started this campaign. I need to get used to organising my soldiers again. So the enemy have pulled right back up the hill. I thought they'd drop around here. They've hidden in the forest. That unfortunately forces me to fight in slightly steep ground. Though my cavalry are well positioned. Oh, there they are. That's an unpleasant surprise. Okay, plan it being. The Saharan cavalry can move this way, please. And this unit here should start to press up. These units should start to move through the forest. Whoops, did not see those spearmen coming. Okay, just pull the cavalry back down the hill. Quickly, please. You guys just pull out. This is dependent on my cavalry getting into position. Bit of a weighted flank situation going on here. Alright, don't run to Mars. So I've caught them on my Almohad urban militia, who should be able to hold up the enemy for long enough that the cavalry come in and finish the job. Unfortunately, a few of my archers did get hurt, and my militia did get mauled a little bit badly. So that should be the end of them. Where is the rest of their army? They had some spearmen somewhere. Right, they're down here. A little bit concerned about these golems. Okay. There we go. Let's swing our archers around. To be honest, I can probably tighten their formations now. The enemy have been pushed off the hill now, which is always good. Start to recollect our cavalry formations and infantry formations. But I'm really not worried about the French army at this point. My archers can certainly play keep away against their peasants. Point where I really don't think there will be any significant resistance to us. Okay, they are moving in. As you can see, it's a little bit difficult for archers to shoot through the trees. But these spearmen have large shields, and I really don't expect the archers to be the main killing force anyway. And even with the tree cover, they are taking quite a few casualties. Okay, let's get the cavalry together, plus the archers. Charge. I'm hoping the sheer shock impact will get them to run away. They are proving surprisingly stubborn for a unit that has been hit from the back by just about everything and by pretty much my entire army. I think there's just a couple of units hiding in the bushes now. Peasants just start to melt, even in fighting cavalry in the forest. It's mostly the Almohad urban militia who will be doing the work right now. The cavalry are mostly there just to inflict morale debuffs. There we go.
Reveals his true colors as a coward.
That's the end of it. And it's good that we managed to pursue a lot of the enemy infantry, because there won't be much defending the castle
Enemy
now.
general is taken and awaits his just fate.
We did take some casualties, mostly amongst the archers. And the French are not getting those men back. Piece of cake. Retreat to the stronghold. That's annoying, but we're not going to be able to stop that force. They have Genoese cross, but they have Genoese sailors who are stronger than regular crossbows. So I'll use my reserve force to deal with that next turn. Bring the Saharan cavalry along to help deal with the enemy archers. Of course, I'll move the garrison out to help. No, this is a concern. They've moved in to where I was building my navy. And that will be extremely unfortunate if we lose that fight. I think I've got enough forces here that I can move some troops to Cyrenaica, Egypt. Now let's see if I can move out. Ideally with a full force. Not quite, but if I take a few of my troops back home with me. I think that militia might be less useful, might be more useful than the cavalry here. But on the other hand, they also are larger units. So I'll send one unit of the militia home. Let's have a look at the enemy army. So we essentially face 3 units of Nubian spearmen. Now my Almohad urban militia will go through them no problem. The concern is the camels. The enemy are led by quite a good general. My general is not quite as competent. I wonder if there's any position I can give him that would boost our command. Have I assigned the Duke of Normandy yet? It doesn't look like it. So it looks like we're stuck with 3 command general against the 4 command general. But we've got, let's see, we've got 6 units of cavalry. Now, my Saharan horse will probably lose to their camels due to the disadvantage, but my urban militia may be able to stand up to them for long enough that we'll get around the flank and crush them, and that is what I am banking on. There is a small chance of rebellion here. In Toulouse, we are going to auto-resolve the assault of this castle. And hold on, let me just check the public order. So its baseline is 70%. We need to get that up. I have plenty of troops I can move in from outside. That restores the balance, and now we just assault the fortress. I'm not going to bother trying to siege this out because it will take an inordinate amount of time. I'll continue to move my troops through here. Doing some calculations. Let's see how much money am I spending each turn? 400, 650. Where else are we recruiting? 950. $1,200. 1,200, so we've got 3,800 to spend this turn. 800. So I'm still concerned about my economy. Okay, 2,800. 1,000. Okay, and because I'm trying to move fairly quickly here, I'm going to leave a little bit of a financial buffer. There's a small chance of revolt in Egypt, but it's like 1%. Can I move from Normandy? Not with that level of loyalty. I'm a little bit concerned about Anjou. And even more concerned about Aquitaine, actually, but I need to deal with the rebellion threat in Toulouse. We might lose Aquitaine this turn, but I can take it back, and I'd like to reduce the castle at Toulouse. Remember, there's a difference between a region being sieged and actually being taken. Yep, there we go. Just going to check the time. Once again, I forgot to set my timer. As expected, we will retreat to the stronghold for now. At least it's not a particularly strong invasion. We'll have to resolve that. At the cost of almost 200 men. This is why castles are so dangerous. The Egyptians pull back from Sinai. That is a good thing. And the Italians have moved in reinforcements, so this is now actually a difficult battle. I should have anticipated this. So let's see what we're facing. 2 units of archers, 2 units of Genoese sailors. Now they're quite good in melee. And some urban militia. So we're at quite a steep disadvantage in terms of our archers, but I do have cavalry and I do have the better infantry. So we'll see how this battle goes. This is going to be the real fight of the turn, I think. Hold on. Right, I was just coping with my neighbour's incredibly loud talking. Let's continue. Right, we are technically the attackers. Just taking a moment to see what the enemy are doing. They are moving up the hill and into the mountains. Where do I want to go? Well, this seems like a no-brainer. We'll take the high ground. Don't want to move up the steepest part of the map. Wait, they're coming towards us. Well, alright then. I will draw up here. I think this looks like a good hill to take a stand on. lots of Medieval 1 is all about generating momentum behind your forces, I think. So you try to climb up somewhere high or somewhere where you have an advantage, and then you just unleash all of that force on the enemy. And if you have enough strength, if your troops are good enough, then they will win. If you miscalculate, then they will lose. What on earth are they doing? They just seem to have sent their troops down. These Genoese sailors are quite dangerous. They can probably beat my Saharan cavalry else on their own. But they're not going to be able to defeat my entire army, especially if I can get some shots in against them first. So I'm going to send my archers out to confront them. I'll send my Saharan cavalry around the flanks, and it will drop these heavier units ready to... I think I'll get the Murderbithans running towards them, because the Murderbithans are fast. Cut them off. And now it's into the attack. I'll send my general out to crack some heads as well. The AI made that painfully easy for me. Hold on. I want the archers to go downhill because I have noticed those archers. Don't worry about that. I just don't care enough to respond to them yet. The enemy infantry have gone running up the hill. And I am actually going to try to move my force right past where the enemy archers are going and get in behind them. Oof, we lost a fair number of cavalry from that. You guys walk, I don't want you getting tired. The archers can hold their own if they're attacked on the hill. What I'm looking to do is overtake these archers and then come down on top of them. Okay, and it looks like my general's in amongst them. Let's go in and help before he gets killed. I'm sure he'll be fine, he's got 10 valor. And that is... which is a lot of valor. These Genoese sailors will be just about to break. Any moment now. They are tough troops. Surprisingly tough given that they're only said to have a weak attack. And of course, on expert mode, the AI does get an advantage. So make sure that they aren't coming back and we'll start to climb the hill. Oof, we did lose one of our bodyguards. So I think I'll keep my general safe for the remainder of the battle. He's probably had enough knocks. Cut the enemy army in two now, or rather I should say it cut itself in two. Just going to leave my archers there and peasants there for the moment in case the enemy make a move into the valley. Because I'm not going to divide my army. What are you, nuts? I don't know why it says ready to fight as there is no retreat. There are several provinces my troops could retreat into. It's a little bit of a concern because if I were to lose this battle, then that would imply that I'd lose the army. Or would have to pay first in ransom, which would be very expensive. especially since there's a prince involved here. Once again, I'm just moving to cut them off, and then I'll kill them. Ouch, they actually got a volley off. Well, that won't do. And here come the Murabitans. Pull the cavalry off, let's try and get round the back again. Because the Murabitans are spreading enough chaos right now. I'd rather try and cut the archers off and get an advantage over them in melee. They are going nowhere. The Murabitans are actually proving very effective against the archers in melee. So they are taking heavier casualties now. Don't know if this will last long enough for the Almohad Urban Militia to get involved. I hope not, because if that happens there'll probably be quite high casualties. We have routed half of the archers. And once again, there's no way I'm letting the Italians get these troops back. Not after all the trouble these raids keep causing us. Okay, form up, form up. Pull the Murabitans off. They've done their job. And done extremely well, I must say. It always helps to have a unit in your army that can move quickly. I'll just let the Saharan cavalry finish tearing these archers apart. Raid my coastline, will you? Get... Oh well. They took our lands, we'll take their lives. That's my contribution to world peace for the day. Now, thanks to them throwing away their archers, I won't need the tight formations anymore, and can begin to set up. Now, I think I will keep my infantry to either side of the missile formations, and my plan is that when the urban militia are forced to charge us, we will just swing down and crush them from the sides. That's a tactic I use in Shogun Total War quite often. Move it, you slobs. I mean, my valued soldiers. I do actually try to look after my troops. Aside from anything else, you need to win in the campaign, but high casualties results nonetheless. Sometimes I need to be careful because our troops are tired and these guys have been resting up the entire time. So let's already start swinging in. Whoops. Try and get above them and try not to get hit directly by the charge. You guys aren't doing this very well. Uh-oh. Right. Very tired, that's why it happened. So maybe the enemy archers weren't entirely wasted then. Got two of my units into trouble. Need to try and pull them out of there. The commander of the Saharan cavalry was a lord, he's dead now. That's the head of their unit killed. Not too worried about my general. He's not going to get caught. Archers should be focusing on the general's unit. They are a far greater concern just now than these guys. Proof that I never learn. I've just moved my mortarbits and infantry back in.
Worthless dog.
There we go.
The enemy general is in full flight.
Take that. And that is the invasion of Granada over. You know what, I am actually going to give the Italians back their troops, because anything that helps to extort their economy and weaken it will help. Slow them down from creating more troops and more buildings. I'd rather inflict the economic damage. Not to mention that this commander will have the running away trait, which may make his troops weaker in the future. Although I suppose you'll also have the ransoms trade, which will actually boost morale. Yes! Sea battle won. We have a navy. It's an extra 1,000. Extra 50. You get a ribbit. Oh goody, our prince is often drunk. Problems in the Sinai with public order. Well, the Sinai isn't worth much money to us, so I'll stick a fairly scary individual on top of there. On top of them. Watchtowers, please. And that's a fairly large force. Need to look out for that in the response. I'll move my troops into here and just move them along. Help to reinforce our position a little bit. The Sinai unfortunately doesn't really bring us any money. It just moves us further into the province. Look at the money coming from Palestine. So Palestine is going to be our next objective if we can get the Sinai under control. Okay, so we've won back Granada. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's anyone who's actually up to running Granada. And I forgot to move up the archers. Oh, we found someone to run Granada. We can afford high taxes here without causing a riot. Predicted or otherwise. That's a musical reference that most of you probably won't get. Right, we have the situation in Aquitaine. Well, it's not exactly the strongest French army in the world. But public order is still a nuisance. And I do need to relieve the city this turn. Otherwise the assault will carry us away. I need someone fairly scary in charge of Toulouse because the public order situation just is not in our favour. So do we have anyone in our realm who is even remotely scary? Do we have anyone in our entire kingdom who's even slightly scary? I've conquered a large chunk of Europe. I should be full of terrifying individuals. There's one person there with 3 skulls and absolutely 0 acumen, so I'd rather not use him if at all possible. See, how far across my empire will I have to go to find someone with even the slightest bit of dread? Right, we have to go all the way to Egypt. So I'll make Idris ibn Yusuf in short, the Amir of Toulouse, Count of Toulouse. I really should not have had to go that far away to find some. And of course then I looked north and there was someone in an adjacent province. Right, Aquitaine. It does need to be dealt with this turn. Can I at least move a prince? He can at least be our commander, good. And maybe my elite infantry too. Excellent. The archers will help. Let's see. Now ideally I want to cut off the retreat as well, so I want to attack Brittany this turn. Looking at what's required for that. They have 2 units of cavalry, 1.5 units of army militia, and some archers, and these are all under the command of a 5-star general. They'll be the king, so it's a 4-star general. They have some peasants and archers, and that's pretty much it. So I have 1 unit of cavalry, 1 unit of archers. I'll need a brick of infantry. And I'll take the Northbritons too. I used correctly, that should be more than enough to deal with this group. I'm a little bit concerned about Anjou, as troops may come from there, so I will take some reinforcements to help defend the province from sudden attack. We're given this mostly ballistas, I'm not that worried. To attack Brittany. Well, they only have a unit of peasants and the general's bodyguard, but they could send reinforcements, so to make sure it falls, I'll need my commander and the archers. That's going to do in public order, isn't it? Commander and the archers. That should be enough to deal with their general's bodyguard if they work together, but it might be a bit of a hard fight. Is it worth risking a rebellion to try and wipe out this entire flank of the French army? Bear in mind that I'll need to maintain public order there as well. What can I move up from? Of course, what can I move up from? Aragon. I can move this unit up. They all do to hold the area. So that gives me some more reinforcements in the area. And if I move, am I moving in any troops from Anjou? Good. So let's see what I've got here. I've got commander, some cavalry, lots of archers and javelins, some heavy infantry. Will that be enough to deal with this? I'll be going very archer heavy. I think we can cope, and that allows me to divert forces to Brittany. That makes sure that the province falls. It also allows me to send some people home. And that will do. Check our loyalty. Okay, what about I've done my movements here, haven't I? Okay, next up is recruitment. So I believe I need to do my accounting. So 600 because we're hiring. Oh, we can now hire Bagalas. So actually it'll be 800. The Bagala is just a bit better than the Dow, and we will need that quality difference to help us continue to beat the Italian navies. Because I'm not really ready to commit to this, I might lose my ships and it'll take a long time for them to recover, so unfortunately I'll be waiting until my first Bagala is created before I can do anything. So let's see, that's 800, 1500. That was not the right math. 1700. 2150. Looks like 2150 this turn. And that leaves me with about 3,500 to spend in effect. So 3,500. In Egypt, I will take this 2,500. We should continue to develop Sirenica's military potential. So I will go for... I'd have to build a castle to really develop it further. For something that's actually worthwhile. A cavalry could be an option. I think I'm already kind of going for that here. That would make a better cavalry province. Okay, so we'll bypass that for now. While it's vulnerable, that's a risky investment. I think I'll go and get my farmland set up here in Leon, which is fairly secure. I am going to do a quick tax roundup. You can get more taxes in Nevers. Tunisia. And taxes in Egypt unfortunately remain very low because I had to move out, which is unfortunate. Ah, wait, that would move us over the top. I need to cancel the farmland here. Portugal doing okay? What about in Toulouse? I'll build watchtowers in Toulouse. I might as well go for another trading post in Anjou and a fort in Normandy. Moved everything. Well, alright then. Next turn. The French have invaded Normandy. It is a formidable invasion force, honestly, even with the bridges to defend. I didn't think they could muster quite this much. I'm going to have to give up on Normandy. I've miscalculated and I didn't get the fort up in time. Just trying to think. Okay, I'm going to go into the battlefield. This is possibly unwise. I'm thinking that my archers may be able to inflict heavy casualties on them as they cross the river. Clear day, which is good for our archers. Oh, there's two bridges present. Okay. What's our retreat path just across that plain? It really depends what the enemy decide to do. If they decide to cross the river here as well, we're kind of in trouble. So our archers need to absolutely decimate anything that crosses that river, which means their line of sight needs to be perfect. Is this one of these battles I'm fighting just because I feel obliged to start fighting it? Some javelins being thrown just as the enemy crosses the bridge could make all the difference. But they need to actually get those javelins off. The enemy have ballistas that are probably going to fire at us. So the enemy will have high morale as well. Looks like the Urban Militia are crossing first. So we need to absolutely riddle these units. Good, they've fallen back. Grab the archers, get them to focus on those peasants. I can see the enemy cavalry coming across, don't worry about that. Make sure at least 2 of our units are now focused on those cavalry. Those extremely dangerous cavalry. Good, they fall into chaos. Everyone hit the cavalry. Pause. No, don't pause. You're not allowed to pause. This could hurt. Come on, bring them down, bring them down. Yes! I honestly thought we were done for. Not ideal, but okay. Once again, you need to stop those knights. Focus on the knights. I need some units to focus on the peasants. The majority of our hours should concentrate on the knights. This is a very French battle. Well, kind of reminds me of the 100 Years' War. Though of course, in reality, archers were never quite this. The bow fire itself was never quite this effective. What really stopped the French Agincourt, for example, was the mud, and also the men-at-arms, and in fact also the English archers were capable of fighting in melee afterwards. I believe may have influenced things, but mainly the terrain and the piecemeal tactics. Yes, how was that? We broke a 6-star general just with missile fire. Now that's a rare sight in this game. And they are just spilling back. Reserve of fire because we're starting to run low on arrows. Yes! We got their general. We won? I think they're pulling back. The French army has turned tail and run away. I would not have bet my life on that result. Was that 3 generals' bodyguards, most of their armed militia, a huge number of peasants and some archers, all gone. 700 and we lost 5 with a 0-star general in charge. I'm saving that actually, so this is what, Normandy? Fantastic. And they pull out of Brittany without a fight. And that leaves just 43 people trying to hold us back in Aquitaine. This is a triumph to savour. I feel like we can almost leave the Murderbitan infantry behind for this one. Well, I'll keep them around because they might come in handy for flanking actions. But I don't think they'll be too useful against a cavalry force. I'm grinning from ear to ear. Mentally, I don't really grin. But this does bring a smile to my face. Okay, looks like they're planning a cavalry charge. So I'm going to get my cavalry ready to repel that. Don't waste your time on the peasants, focus on the Royal Knights. Bring down one unit of the Royal Knights, then our cavalry will easily be able to deal with the other. Rather poor accuracy from our cavalry. I'm not really set up to take that. I think that's honestly enough. Our general got in and attacked the king. That's our general in a bit of danger as well. I'm going to move the Almohads in to help. I don't think the archers can really do much to help this situation. Like, how many knights did we lose there? There's a lot more than 4 bodies on the ground. I think they might have got hit by the arrow fire. Hope they didn't lose a prince there. If I did lose a prince, it's possibly not a very good prince, but I still don't want to take the chance. Just crush that peasant. Peasant crushing, in vogue since the Dark Ages.
The courage of a goat herd, the enemy monarch flees.
And we should be able to sell the king off if he flees. So you know what? I don't really care too much about that particular king. He's not a particularly great king. He can escape and then we'll capture him. Which means we'll get 10,000 florins if the AI can afford it. They couldn't. Or they wouldn't pay anyway. Well, that's the French king dead. And the question is, can I keep the land I've taken? Or is unrest going to cave us in? Ah, that warms the cockles of my heart. That was a great turn for us. But all good things have to come to an end. We are now in the midst of a new turn, and now we shall decide what to do next. So the first thing I need to do is find someone suitable to rule Aquitaine, which is proving somewhat challenging. You know what, I'll just send the archers off. We could do with another unit in of infantry in Cordoba. But more to the point, is there anyone around here that is actually suitable for command? We know that question. We know our best governors are probably up here in the north. Or maybe not. Best I can find is this. I guess he can take over the province. Public order is still quite important. That keep is probably not worth assaulting. I'll let it expire via siege. So if we can just control the province for now. I will move troops out of Aquitaine to help with that. We still need more, and Aquitaine's starting to run low on public order itself. One more unit. That does it. And honestly, maybe one more. Because they'll take casualties and that'll lower the public order in the province further. See, moving troops. Move these units up into Toulouse. Am I ready to attack the Germans? Kinda like to deal with the French first. And I'm not really ready to expand out of France. That was quite a lot of land to digest. What I will do is send some of my forces north. So that I have a better chance of assembling the troops I need and guarding the land I already have. They have just 2 princes left at this point. So if I can kill the king and that prince, then that is the French done with as well. They'll turn into rebels. This isn't going to help us. Sinai is going to take time to pacify, so it'll be a while before we can expand again in this direction. How are we doing for troopers here? Oops. Grab these troops and move them along the coast. And actually, there seems to be very few soldiers there, so I will move my troops along. Just continuing to move troops up until eventually I can take somewhere else, and I will be very glad when I can take Palestine, because that will go a long way towards fixing any money troubles we have. Am I done with troop movements? Nope, I am not. Buildings, right, so finances. So it's not these places that are recruiting. Start recruiting Murderbitons. So it's 300, 700, 1100, 1350. $1,650, that sounds familiar. Oh, we can recruit golems every turn. There's only 20 of them though, but they can allow us to replenish our guard. 1950, so let's see, 1950. We basically have around 3,250 to spend this turn. Which honestly isn't that much for an empire of this size. Italians are really reinforcing their navy. Not really sure upgrading the salt mines is a massive upgrade, but okay. 2,850. 2,450. 2,250. Building various things. Okay. Or shall I finally go for a Castle Cyrenica? I think in terms of the military investment, I'd rather invest in the cavalry in Tunisia. Oh, and don't forget that we spent some money on this. Okay, I think we're fine to go. Public order is okay. We've made a military move such as they are right now. We're mostly consolidating. Make sure to get someone in that castle. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Fort and Sinai, please. No, I'll do that. I need to make sure I do these constructions in the right order. Public order is improving in Sinai. They've got this. They start with this general, and he is a very good general. 6 stars against my 2-star general. How's public order in Britain? 88. See, it falls dramatically because of casualties amongst the besiegers. Let's see. Hopefully public order and the rest of France will have improved. Unfortunately, Islam is still a minority religion in France at this point, so we suffer quite severe public order problems in both of these provinces, Normandy in particular. And it's going to be a while before I can start building mosques and that sort of thing to help with that. The Ile-de-France is now very vulnerable. Their income is terrible there. Looks like they've spent most of their money on... Well, no, apparently Ile-de-France just isn't very wealthy. I thought that was one of the wealthier provinces in the game. See, well, honestly, this is just a siege operation, so can I move any of my heavy units out to where they might actually be useful? That should allow me to move. And also where they don't just take casualties from a siege. Get the camels out of there. Okay, the rest is troopers I'm not that worried about. I'll continue the transfer of force north. We need to leave someone in here just in case. But can I move these guys out as well? Okay, hopefully that will put us in a position to take Ile-de-France soon. And also means I can actually start taxing Anjou. Don't want to move too much out of this province in case it gets attacked. But on the other hand, I am moving up these reinforcements, so alright. There's the garrison in Toulouse in case things get too ugly. Need to watch out, as Castile is vulnerable. And so is Lyon. And, okay, we're nowhere near we're not getting close to that yet. Recruitment. What are we building this turn? So 900. 1350. Keep trying. 1650, which I will have some more golems available. Use them to refill my bodyguard and send the rest north. That's 1600 per turn. I believe that is it for now. So we have about 2,700 to spend this turn. I'm going to invest in a castle in Cyrenica. Start moving towards. Wait, no. Chindezi, as I said, is starting to move towards cavalry. I'm going to build a bowyer here. No, I'm going to build a rebat. And I can go for a castle in Cyrenica as well. Checking taxes in France. And just quickly move them across. Enter. Uh-oh. We're up against a much better commander. I don't have a lot of archers to weaken them as they approach. This could go badly wrong. Because that's not a little difference in honor. And valor, rather. And I'm outnumbered. Even if it is just by peasants. I'm worried my morale will break. I'm going to have to withdraw. Curses. And we didn't occupy Navarre. So the Italians have finally got a hold on us. I can't defend my... Oh, no, that was just carelessness. They just managed to run a few units in and they've managed to pillage a ton of property. Okay, I have been a fool to let that happen. And we're getting pushed back here as well. It's not helped by the fact that they've got a really, really good commander here. I'm not sure what I can do to fix that, honestly. What time is it? Okay, that's about an hour. This has been Napoleon Complex. Thank you for watching the video. And we may have reached a turning point in the campaign. I am very worried about that Egyptian army. And losing Navarre, even briefly, is going to be a blow. Okay, see you next time. Farewell.